Carlotta is here, and man oh man is she badass and fun to play with. If you haven't played Wuthering Waves 2.0 update, get on that right now. It has been phenomenal. The changes they've made are just amazing. But as you can see here, Carlotta is our new 5-star ice DPS gun character as well. So if any of those things interest you, go get her. She is very good. If you have her though, that's probably the reason you're watching this video, because today we're having a guide on how to make your Carlotta the best you can have her. What substats you should be going for, what weapon you should have, what echoes you should have, what your Forte looks like, and should you go for anything higher on the resonance chain, and then as well, what teams you should be playing her in. So with all that said, let's get into the Carlotta guide.
No need to rush. The ball has only just begun.
Now, quick disclaimer, I like to put at the start of these things. If you feel like you enjoy using her with a different weapon, or you feel like she's better with different echoes that you have, do it however you like. It's a game, it's meant to be fun. Just play however you enjoy it the most. What weapon is best for her? Unsurprisingly, as it is with almost every character that comes out, her signature weapon, the Last Dance, is her best weapon. And obviously, if you can get it to S5, it's even better than S1. But what happens if you can't get the Last Dance? What happens if you don't want to use your pulls for that, and you used up all your pulls getting Carlotta, or used them to go get Judgy alongside Carlotta, or you'd rather save them for the next character? What weapon should you use besides the Last Dance? Her second best weapon is, of course, Static Mist, the other 5-star pistol in the game. Crazy, I know. But if you pulled it off of the standard weapon banner, slap that bad boy on her. It isn't quite as great as, of course, the Last Dance, which was made for Carlotta in mind. As, you know, you can see that every time intro skill or resonance lib is cast, resonance skill damage bonus increases, as both of her intro skill and res lib do res skill damage. It does, in fact, give some buffs, and it is the second best in terms of getting the most potential out of your Carlotta. So if you have Static Mist, go for that, slap it on her if you don't want to go get the Last Dance. What if you don't have either of the 5-star pistols? What are your 4-star options? I have here a screenshot from the Pridwin website. These are all, of course, S5, as you can see, but the 4-star options are Thunderbolt, followed by Romance and Farewell, followed by Undying Flame, Nova Burst, and then pistols number 26. The base at 100% is the Static Mist that you're looking at in the screenshot. And then, as you can see, Last Dance outperforms that Static Mist, so it's above 100%. And then you can see kind of similarly how close they are to 100%. All of the 5-star pistols are relatively in that same range. If you have any of them S5, or whichever one you have the highest, go for that if you don't have a Static Mist or the Last Dance. So I hope this gives you some idea of what weapon to use in your Carlotta. Maybe you're newer to the game. Maybe this is your first time playing the game 2.0, just getting Carlotta. You don't have some of the 5-star pistols. You don't want to spend money to go out and get the Last Dance. Hopefully you have one of these 4-star pistols, even if it's not S5. Rock it on her, whichever one you have the highest, and get the most out of your Carlotta that you can right now. Now, for your echoes. What echo set should you be rocking? What echoes should you have in your slots? You're going to actually run one of the new echo sets that just came out with this 2.0 update. We're going to scroll down here to Frosty Resolve. This is the brand new echo set that came out in 2.0. So this is what you're going to be rocking. If you have not played any of 2.0 yet, you probably don't have any Frosty Resolve echoes sitting around, as you're going to have to go and farm the new area to get them. If you're just starting the game and you got Carlotta and you don't even have access to our new area, then you're going to want to rock Lingering Tunes or the starting OG Freezing Frost sets until you're able to grind up some of the Frosty Resolve echoes to put those on your Carlotta instead. For all of these echo sets, there's only one 4 cost for it. So as you can see, we have the Mech Abomination for the Lingering Tunes, we have the Lampy Lumen Myriad for the Freezing Frost, and then for the Frosty Resolve, we have the Sentry Construct. Now, you're going to want to run a 4-3-1-1 format, as you see I have here. I mean, I have 4-3-1-3-1, but 2 3s, 2 1s, and a 4 is what you're going for. Which 3 and 1 costs you put don't matter, as long as they are of the corresponding set, whichever one of the 3 sets you decide to go with based on what you currently have. Doesn't matter which 3 or 1s you rock, just make sure you have the ones that have the best substats on them. So, what substats should you be aiming for on all of your echoes? On your 4 cost, the main stat should be either crit rate or crit damage. Now, which one you pick will depend on what other substats you get, and of course, what weapon you have. If you have the Last Dance fully upgraded, you see it gives you 72% crit damage, so that is why I currently have a crit rate echo on in order to increase my crit rate, as my crit damage is already being buffed by my weapon. So keep in mind what weapon you have and what buff it's giving to your Carlotta. If you have one that gives you crit rate, put a crit damage on. If you have the crit damage I showed you, put the crit rate on. Keep things in mind to try and reach your goals that you're going to be aiming for. Now, as for the substats on the other echoes, when you're looking at this page here, the front of Carlotta that shows all her stats, mine are still work in progress. My echoes are pretty awful right now, but we're working on that. But remember to keep in mind, energy regen has a base 100 and crit damage has a base 150%. If you actually go into the echo stats here, this shows what you're getting from the echoes only, and you can see energy regen is only 34 and my crit damage is only 13. Very big difference than when I'm out here, because it's not taking into account my weapon crit damage and other things like that. When looking at your echo stats only, your aim is to get an energy regen between like a 15 to 25%. You can play around with your Carlotta. If you're not getting your ultimate you feel quick enough, get more energy regen on your echoes. If you feel like you have more than enough, maybe you can try and swap in an echo with a different substat there to try and make up for, you know, more damage or something like that. Now, following energy regen, as it's very important she gets her ultimate, we're going for crit rate and crit damage stats. Common for DPS characters in most games, and that's no different here for Carlotta. You're going to want to get a crit rate of at least 60% on your Carlotta, and then crit damage of at least 120%, around that range. Of course, the more you can get, the better. Always try and get more, but that's what you should be aiming for. Don't forget, though, while looking here, that I'm going to be adding in my 72% from the pistol. So really, I'm sitting at 85. I still need more, which I'm working on, but it's not just 13%. You can include your weapon, and that 120% can just be added to the 150, so you're looking at like 270 is your goal, really, when you're building your character out. After that, you can go for attack percentage, resonance skill damage, and just flat attack on your echoes. She does have a lot of abilities in her kit that output resonance skill damage that aren't her resonance skill. A lot of her damages are dealing resonance skill damage when you're attacking. So that's why you want resonance skill damage on her instead of like liberation damage, things like that. Also, her Sonata effect here, you can see why this is the best one for her. It increases resonance skill damage, and casting resonance skill grants glacio damage bonus. Casting res lib increases resonance skill damage. This set was made for Carlotta in mind. Now for her Forte, which you can see I'm clearly still working on my account here. But you're going to want to aim for resonance liberation damage, followed by resonance skill, followed by Forte, and then like intro skill and basic attack are the same thing. They're always pretty useless on these DPS type characters. They're not the main focus. So you want to try and get everything, I'd say at least 5 out of 10. And then after that, you want to focus on resonance liberation, then skill, and then Forte, getting them up as high as you can. You will, of course, want to get both of her inherent skills and then also her bonuses to crit rate and attack that you get throughout here. So keep that in mind when building up your Carlotta. Very important, though, that resonance liberation damage is something you funnel your resources into. Now, for her resonance chain, I'm going to throw some numbers up on the board. I will say this, though. Do you need to get anything else to, like, make her good? No, she is good on her own as long as you get her once. It's not like in some games where you pull a character, but they're not really any use to you unless you go and get, like, say, an extra 2 copies on her, because it unlocks an ability that makes her just infinitely better than she was normally. No, you can rock Carlotta with nothing else invested into her, so you don't have to go get these things. I'm just going to show them on the screen now. Again, this is from Pridwin. I feel like it's just a great way to visualize it, and they already have it done. So here you go. This is what it looks like for her. You can see S0 here at the bottom is 100%, followed by a 9% increase when you get that S1. Then we have a 22% increase in damage, basically, with her S2, followed by a 35% increase when you get that S3. Then it's a 14% from S3 to S4 increase. Then we have a 5%, closer to 6%-ish, between 4 and 5. And then we jump a whopping, what is that, 56% when you get that S6. So, as you can see here, mathematically wise, the best jump would probably be to go for that S2, but you don't need to push for anything over S0. So don't feel like she's useless if you don't. You can most definitely clear all the things in this game with your S0 Carlotta if you build it right. Now for teams. Carlotta's best team is going to be Carlotta, Judgy, and then either the Shorekeeper or Verena. You can put either one in there. I just have Verena on my Camilla team, which, by the way, this is an S6 Camilla, so if you want to come by and check it out sometime, I stream this game a lot. You can come see it out. I love Camilla. Favorite character in this game. But anyway, yes, you can run Judgy, Shorekeeper, or Verena. Verena's probably going to be the easier option, especially if you just started playing. Go get Verena. But Shorekeeper is definitely an option there if you do have Shorekeeper to rock her alongside Judgy and Carlotta. If you are looking for a more free-to-play friendly team, I think the most free-to-play friendly team you can have, and if you're just starting the game, I think it's more likely you don't have all these 5 stars that I do. You have more 4 stars. I think the easiest team to assemble will be Carlotta, paired up with Tauchi, and then Baija. Baija you get for free playing the story. So if you literally haven't played at all, you can get Baija from the story. She's a healer. She's like the best 4-star healer. And then you can get Tauchi from pulls. I don't think you get Tauchi for free. I think the only free ones, based on my memory, are Baija and Sanhua. But Tauchi isn't super difficult to get. You'll probably pull her. You may have pulled her even when you're trying to get Carlotta. So you can rock Tauchi there. If you manage to pull Lumi, you can rock Lumi instead of Tauchi. That's another option there. Those are probably the best 2 you can rock alongside your Carlotta. So try and run either Judgy as the best, or Lumi or Tauchi, and then either Shorekeeper, Verena, or Baija if you don't have a Verena or a Shorekeeper. But I believe that if you just start, you should get some like guaranteed 5 stars. And if you can get Verena, do it. Verena is the best starting 5-star you should get in this game. Starting out here in the Forte circuit, moldable crystal. You can get up to 6 of them. While you're fighting, you're going to see a snowflake next to your Carlotta. That snowflake is your stacks of moldable crystal. When it's full, you got all 6 stacks. Basically, to fill up your stacks is what it's telling you here. You're going to want to use your intro skill. That's going to give you 3 automatically. And then when you just do like most everything, basic attack stage 2, your heavy attack, your mid-air attack, customary greeting, your intro skill as I mentioned, or when you just dodge, you're going to get moldable crystal. That moldable crystal is then going to be turned into substance, which your Forte gauge at the bottom of the screen there that you can see increasing as I just attack. That's my substance going up. It's using the moldable crystal to turn into substance. How do you get substance? Well, basically this explains it. 30 points of substance when you use your intro skill, why it's so important to use your intro skill. Then also using your resonant skill chromatic splendor, using your basic attack necessary measures, or doing a dodge counter will get you substance. Basically, playing the game and attacking the enemy is gonna get you moldable crystal and substance. Now, what are you gonna do with the substance you're earning? Well, when you do your heavy attack containment tactics or your heavy attack imminent oblivion, they look the same. It's going to use all of your substance up in order to deal more damage. You can see here, deal glacio damage, consider res skill, and reduce the cooldown of resonant skill art of violence. You're going to use your heavy attack when your Forte gauge at the bottom is full. Also, when your substance is full, you enter what is known as the final bow state, which will increase your damage of the res lib, all the forms of the res lib. It's got 3 different forms basically while you're doing it, but it's going to increase them all. Then, when you use your Resonance Liberation, you can see here we have our Deconstruction, Twilight Tango, Death Knell, and Fatal Finale. Basically, Deconstruction is a debuff applied onto the enemy when you first cast your ultimate. It's going to make you ignore 18% of their defense. You're going to do more damage. Then, you're going to enter into what is known as the Twilight Tango state. Don't really worry about it. Just keep pressing square or R2 or your basic attack or ultimate button, depending on what platform you're playing on. I use a PlayStation controller on my PC. I know that it also has come out on PS5. So just keep attacking. You're going to see that we're going to be doing these big shots. That is what our Death Knell is. It's going to be using our musket to deal these big attacks. Then, on our very last one, after we've done the 4, you're going to enter another animation, which is your Fatal Finale, which will be the big end, doing resonant skill damage for your ultimate. Wha-bang! You've gone through all of these words that I've just shown you here, just like that, and you really didn't have to do anything but press the buttons. The only real part that you had to manage was making sure that your substance at the bottom got full, so you're doing the most amount of damage. How to explain your resonance skill here? Effectively, you're going to cast resonance skill. You're going to see the target freezes. That's dispersion. They're immobilized. Then you're going to press your resonance skill again, and it's going to consume your multiple crystals and deal glacio damage. For her inherent skills, basically with this one, while you have cast your resonant skill chromatic splendor, you can use mid-air attacks, or before you use your mid-air attack, you are immune to any damage or interruptions. Also, just when she's on the team, whoever the active resonator on the field is, as long as she's in the team, you have an increased flight stamina cost of an extra 20% of whatever you had before. And then her other inherent skill is basically your intro skill, your resonance skill, your res lib, and your heavy attack can also inflict deconstruction, which I just mentioned over here ignores 18% of the defense. And that is her kit. Super simplified, I hope. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll hopefully try and answer them for you.